Hello, this is Dr. Pete, and there was a question in politics about the recent Supreme Court nomination and confirmation of Gorsh or something. Everyone says it a little differently. I'm not sure exactly the official way, but every time there's a vacancy on the Supreme Court, that could be due to a retirement, a death, or, if you will, unbecoming conduct, basically misconduct in office. There are openings in the Supreme Court. There's 9 justices, 1 Chief Justice. And these positions, the way the Constitution is written, is that the President of the United States will select someone, in essence, nominate them. The Senate then goes and advises and consents. Okay, that doesn't mean they have to consent. It just means they'll go in and they'll say, okay, this is what the qualifications are. Is this person qualified? And they consent. Now, in recent decades, it's become more, do we politically agree with this person? And if we do, then they're a good candidate. If we don't, they're not a good candidate. So setting that up, a student had asked about the idea of the recent nomination and confirmation, and because it's something that's a little more abnormal. Well, what happened was under Obama, the last year, Justice Scalia had died. Okay, now let's take out all the rumors. I don't know if he was. Some people say he was murdered. Some people just say he died of old age. I don't. That's not really important, and I don't want people to get distracted with that issue. That's not the issue here. The issue is he died. Okay, and then they have to have a nomination. So President Obama said, "Well, I'm going to nominate someone for the Supreme Court," and then the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell from Kentucky. That's actually where I live, in Kentucky. He said, "Well, you know what? We're not going to do this. We're going to wait till the next president, until after the election. It's their right to do this." Now, whether that's normal or not, it depends on, again, on what side of the political aisle you are on. So some people say, no, President Obama deserved that one, and other people say, no, he was in the last few months of his office. He really didn't deserve that nomination. Legally and under the Constitution, he can do whatever, he can nominate whoever he wants. That's not the issue. So he had that right to do that. Under the Senate side, under the Constitution, they had a right not to confirm or to delay it. That was their right as well, and that's been done with judges in the past by both parties. So that's well established law and practice in the Constitution. Looking forward, the election happens and it goes to Trump, which that plays bad for the Democrats, but it played great for Mitch McConnell. So Trump puts up Gorsh, and this is a judge who was federally approved, like as a federal level judge. It was, I think it was a unanimous 96-0 vote. He was very popular due to his education, experience, and the quality of his work. While this is going on, a number of years ago, Harry Reid is a Democrat who was the Senate Majority Leader, basically before Mitch McConnell. And he made the decision that federal judges were not getting passed fast enough, so they deployed what they call the nuclear option, which was the filibuster. In other words, each senator has the ability to say, we are going to speak a bill to death, or we're going to speak until, so there's no vote on the floor. And so a senator has traditionally had that right to do that. And that if a party says we're going to filibuster, the other party has to have 60 votes for closure, anyways, in order to close off debate, okay? And in order to do that, you have to have those 60 votes. So if Democrats can say we have, 45 votes, they have roughly 48 votes total. Republicans currently have 52. Then they can say we're going to threaten this filibuster, and the Republicans cannot break that. And so as we go forward, now we're at a point where the Democrats under Chuck Schumer, he's the Senate Minority Leader, he says we're going to filibuster the Supreme Court justice, which is not really something done. That's abnormal. So next thing you know, Mitch McConnell says, well, no, we're just going to deploy the nuclear option you did when you were doing federal judges, and we're going to deploy that with the Supreme Court justice because we're done with this. He approved Sotomayor and Kagan, and some would argue whether or not they're completely qualified or on the same level as previous justices. It appears age was a big factor in this whole thing. So whether or not you approve of them or not, the Republicans did vote for them and approved them and didn't filibuster them. Okay, so That's kind of some of the tradition there, okay, or some of the respect or mutual respect they've given. So when that respect wasn't given back, you may not vote for him, but you won't filibuster him. So they just deployed the nuclear option, meaning there is no more filibuster. The Senate rules are changed to say that a simple majority carries today. Now, the filibuster has been a tradition of the Senate. Technically, it still is under legislation, but keep your eyes open. If there's a lot more of this threat of filibuster, Mitch McConnell will be tempted, if not forced, to deploy the nuclear option with every piece of legislation. And that might be something that really changes. Well, obviously, it will change the way government works in the Senate and the House, but it's something to know. So that's kind of a brief history of a lot of moving parts here. And why that's important is now the Supreme Court, in theory, has 5 conservatives and 4 more liberal justices. And where this plays in further is 2 of the liberal justices or jurists, Ginsburg, Breyer, even Kennedy. That's 3 if you really want to add him. That's 3 that are very, very old, getting to that point, a lot of health issues. So if Trump, in his world, fortunate or unfortunate for Democrats, he may get 1 to 3 more nominations. If so, the court can shift to a 7-2 balance, which means conservatives would run that court for next anywhere from 10 to 20 years, and that's a big deal. So that's why elections do have consequences and they do matter, and that's why it's such a big deal about what's going on with Trump and this transition. So anyways, that's a brief video on that, and hopefully that explains a lot more in detail. Thank you.